waving him away back into the race. A very good, a very fast and a very efficient pit stop here by the Lancia team. The lead car now comes into the pits. It'll be Guy Edwards getting out of the car after his first stint, and the Spanish driver Emilio de Villota getting into the car. Edwards gets out. The rest of the team crew there, cleaning the windscreen, refueling, checking the tyres, checking the brakes. Everything must be checked, of course, in the minimum time possible. And it looks to me as if it's getting a bit lighter here now at Silverstone. The track is still very, very wet indeed, but it could well dry very soon. And when the track dries, they'll have to come off their very wet tyres, their grooved wet tyres, and possibly go on to either intermediate tyres or the slick dry tyres. But for the moment, Emilio de Villota gets back into the Lola car, and he's away. They haven't changed tyres, they're still on the wet tyres. The refueling there going on the Mike Wiles little 1.4 litre car. This car, number 58, is the Porsche in the 2 litre Group 5 class, up against the Lancia now of Beppe Gabbiani and Giorgio Pianta. Frantic work going on all over the pits. In comes 62, the Lubri-filled 2 litre Lancia. On goes the fuel. A driver change here. That's Giorgio Pianta going into the car. Everything being checked, the oil being checked at the back. The fueling going on there, that's what we call a relumit system. The fuel goes in on a gravity feed, so it's very, very fast refueling indeed. You can see the fuel going in. The bottle on the right-hand side of your screen was for the excess fuel. Everything has to be checked. You can see the air guns, they've obviously changed the rear tyre there. The windshield being cleaned. Time is of the essence in these pit stops. This is where a race can be won and lost. 62 there, starting up, and he stalled it, started it again, and away he goes. So Lancia goes back into the race here at Silverstone, and the Dick Lovett car, that's Bobby Rahal, who was in second position in the early stages of this race, has come in with a battered front end. Bob Aitken will go into the seat this time. The wet tyres are coming off, and let's see what they're going to put back on. That's an intermediate tyre they're putting on, so that's really for the sort of wet and dry conditions of the race. So the track is obviously drying, and we go to the chicane here at Woodcote, car 28. That's Riccardo Patrese driving the Lancia now, coming up through the field after that pit stop, as is Giorgio Pianta in the 2 litre Lancia. Through goes Facchetti and Finotto. That's Finotto now driving the car a little bit sideways through the Woodcote chicane. Dieter Schoenstein there in car number 22, the Group 5 Porsche. He is up into second place, back into 5th place, but having a repaired nose cone. Is now Bob Aitken driving the red Porsche. Number 28 going through, and the rain is now abating, and you can see a dry line starting to form in the middle of the Woodcote chicane. Now this can be extremely difficult for the cars, as you can see, because if they get off that dry line, go on to the wet patches, they can go straight off. That's Bruce Henn there in a turbo Porsche, and it's definitely drying here, and the Lancia team will go into the pits certainly and change onto slicks. Car number 22, Dieter Schoenstein coming through. You can see the turbo flame out there of the Porsche. Through comes Steve O'Rourke and David Hobbs, driven car number 40 there. And now trouble has hit after 2.5 hours. This car, the Lancia number 28, being driven by Riccardo Patrese. They had a throttle problem, a throttle cable problem. They had to replace the entire throttle cable, which took them 19 minutes. So they were stationary in the pits for 19 minutes, have dropped right down the order. But they're fighting right the way back up through, and at the moment they're up into 10th place. They've still got 3.5 hours to go to get up back into the top 3 positions here at Silverstone. As through comes number 36, perhaps one of the most unusual cars in the race, a Morgan V8. Giorgio Pianta coming through in car number 62. They're now up into second place in that Group 5 class, up to 2 litres. Remember, they want to win that class to gain the very valuable 20 points towards this year's World Championship. 28 now on slick tyres, going faster and faster, certainly one of the fastest cars on the circuit here at Silverstone. Giorgio Pienta, now driving that 2-litre Lancia, has just taken the lead in the Group 5 up to 2-litre class for the Lancia team. So 62 coming through Stowe Corner at the far end of the Silverstone circuit. We wait for car number 28, the Riccardo Patrese and Eddie Cheever driven Lancia, to come through Stowe. Here they come, and we hear that the leading Lola, car number 1, is out of the race. It's spluttered to a stop. It's got some form of fuel starvation problem, so this only increases the chance of overall victory for the Lancia team with number 28, the Riccardo Patrese Eddie Cheever driven car. After 4 hours, Dieter Schoenstein is now in the lead in the Porsche, but up to 5th place is number 28, Riccardo Patrese and Eddie Cheever. They come into the pits. It's got to be a very fast pit stop indeed. On the track, they've been gaining on the leader, Dieter Schoenstein, in the Porsche. In 11th place overall, and leading that 2-litre section is, of course, Beppe Gabbiani in the 2-litre Lancia. Car number 28, there's a driver change. Out comes Eddie Cheever, in goes Riccardo Patrese, on goes the fuel. A very fast pit stop indeed. We now talk to Mr. Lonardi, Managing Director of Fiat Auto UK Limited.
Mr. Lonardi, how can the Lancia dealer network benefit from racing such as we're seeing today?
You know, we are already world champions, and we really are working hard to be also this year world champions. And this is success.
Do you feel we should promote this more at the showrooms?
Yes, I think so, you know, because Lancia is already world champions this year. And if we are succeeding in trying to win also this championship, I think that is another success that is adding to the history of Lancia. And I think it's going to bring a lot of people on the showrooms, also because we are supporting these efforts with our advertising campaign, for instance, the campaign which is running now.
And so the battle continues here between the Lancia and the Porsches. Beppe Gabbiani leading the 2-litre section. Up now into 3rd place, number 28, Eddie Cheever and Riccardo Patrese. Number 27 comes through the K3 Porsche of Bruce Hen, but he spins off. There he goes wide, spins onto the grass, goes round, slides into the bank, goes backwards along the bank, and he's going to have difficulty getting out of there because there's very thick mud on the side of the track in the grass. The Porsche there trying to get out of the mud as through comes number 28, Riccardo Patrese, going faster and faster in the Lancia. The track now is completely dry. Bruce Hen trying to get out of that position. No way, he's going to have to retire on the spot. So with just 1.5 hours to go of the Silverstone 6-hour race, we're in for a very exciting battle right the way to the finish. Giorgio Pienta now driving the 2-litre Lancia, well in the lead of that 2-litre class. Riccardo Patrese in number 28 going faster and faster and catching the 2nd place BMW as out goes 39 Bobby Rahal in the Porsche 935, now in 5th place, and the Mazda has had contact with the leading car. Dieter Schoenstein has come in and has badly damaged the front end of the car. In goes Eddie Cheever, out comes Riccardo Patrese. This will certainly be their final pit stop. They've just taken over 2nd position, so they're in with a chance of winning the Silverstone 6-hour race. Remember, the 2-litre class is already being led, and handsomely led, by Gabbiani, Giorgio Pienta, and of course Giorgio Schoen driving that 2-litre car. But in goes Eddie Cheever. He's being strapped in by Riccardo Patrese. It's got to be a very fast pit stop indeed. They want to catch Dieter Schoenstein, who's leading in the Porsche, and that leading Porsche has got troubles and is slowing dramatically. So there's every chance that car number 28, Riccardo Patrese and Eddie Cheever in the Lancia could win the Silverstone 6 hours outright. The engine started, and away they go. But into the pits, number 39, and there's something wrong, dramatically wrong there. 2nd place BMW goes out, but they're being caught by the Lancia. But there's consternation in the Lancia pit because Eddie Cheever's wheel has come off the Lancia. The wheel has come off at Stowe Corner, and Eddie Cheever is walking back, so we'll find out from Cheever what happened.
Well, I won't be able to know what happened until they get their car back to the workshop. But I think it might be that maybe the wheel wasn't tightened when I went out. I just left the pits and I was going down the end of Hanger Straight like you said, and the wheel just passed me. But I knew maybe 20 seconds beforehand that something was wrong.
Tremendous drive up till now because you'd made a tremendous lot of progress from having the throttle cable trouble earlier on.
Yes, no, we were going quite well. We had just moved into the 2nd position, and the number 1 driver, of Porsche, is having some problems. So I think we would have been looking good for a rush to the final.
Well, we're coming to the end of a very exciting 1981 Silverstone 6 hours. The Lancia team there, unfortunately, will not get the overall victory, but what they will get is victory in the Group 5 up to 2 litre division, a very important division indeed, because that will mean that they score maximum points here at Silverstone and are well on their way to a second successive World Championship victory in the 1981 World Endurance Championship Series, as through goes the leader, car number 22, Dieter Schoenstein in the Porsche. Second there, the M1 of Derek Bell and Steve O'Rourke and David Hobbs. Through goes one of the smaller Group 6 cars, and he almost goes off onto the grass. It shows you a problem there with the back marker. But the checkered flag is now out for the end of the Silverstone 6-hour race at 6 p.m. here on May the 10th. Through goes Dieter Schoenstein to win the race. But the winner in the 2-litre section is, of course, the Lancia team, with number 62 driven by Beppe Gabbiani, Giorgio Shawn and Giorgio Pianto. So they gain maximum 20 points towards this year's World Endurance Championship. The next round is at the Nürburgring, and in just 5 weeks' time we have the incredible Le Mans 24-hour race. So Lancia and Porsche are level pegging in the championship with 60 points. And so the World Endurance Championship for manufacturers in 1981 is a straight fight between Lancia and Porsche.
Lancia's sporting image is inherent with the company's market. It's something indefinable which nevertheless sets Lancia apart from other manufacturers. But this sporting image isn't really a matter of trading on past glories. It's a concept that's constantly put to the test in the competitive arena of world motorsport. In recent years, with the Lancia Stratos, the company has consistently dominated World Championship rallying, and now Lancia are back in racing, having won the World Sports Car Championship at their very first attempt last year with the turbocharged Montecarlo model, which of course was developed from the current production sports car. Lancia are now poised to repeat this prestigious performance with traditional style, professionalism and panache. Small wonder then that the aura of competition tends to rub off on Lancia's showroom models.
The 1981 World Endurance Series has seen one of the most closely fought battles between two major manufacturers for many years. The Lancia team come to the world's most famous motor race, the Le Mans 24-hour race, with just a 2.5-point lead over their arch rivals, Porsche. Lancia have 70 points, Porsche have just 67.5 points. So all rests on the final 2 rounds of the championship here at Le Mans and in 4 weeks' time at Watkins Glen in America. 55 of the world's fastest sports cars lined up for the Le Mans 24-hour race. Seconds to go now to the start of the race. The rolling lap has been completed. On the front row is the Porsches of Jackie Ickx and Jochen Mass. The Lancia team have entered 4 cars in the up to 2-litre Group 5 category, which they hope to win by setting a conservative pace. It's a 24-hour race, a very long time indeed, and it's certainly the most arduous race on the calendar. With temperatures in the high 80s, this race is certainly going to be a test of man and machine. Jackie Ickx in the Group 6 Porsche is going for his 5th victory here at Le Mans. That would be a record. The Group 6 cars do not qualify for World Championship points. The Group 5 cars do. You have 2 categories in Group 5, the over 2-litre section and the under 2-litre section. In the over 2-litre section we have predominantly the Porsche turbos. In the under 2-litre sections we have the Lancia team. Through goes number 65, being driven there by Eddie Cheever. That's the Martini Lancia coming through the Ford chicane here at Le Mans. The Martini Racing Lancias are powered by a 1.4-litre turbocharged engine, so they just scrape into the 2-litre category in the Group 5 series. this year's Le Mans certainly sees the return of the major manufacturers to sports car racing. Lancia going for their second consecutive World Championship victory here. 1980, of course, they were outright world champions, so in 1981 they certainly want to repeat that achievement. This is a very fast